Ken is working this summer as part of a crew on a farm. He earned $8 per hour for the first 10 hours he worked this week. Because of his performance, his crew leader raised his salary to $10 per hour for the rest of the week. Ken saved 90% of his earnings from each week. What is the least number of hours he must work the rest of the week to save at least $270 for the week? Now, the reason I have kept this problem in hard problems category is because this problem is not as difficult, but it is testing three concepts. It is testing your concept of percentages. It is testing the concept of inequalities. And it is also testing the concept of word problems. The word problems is not a math concept, but word problems are generally like students are intimidated by word problems. Especially this problem is slightly confusing, but it's actually really easy. So it says that there is a guy called Ken, and he's working on a farm. So for the first 10 hours, he earned $8 per hour. Now, for any word problem, just follow this one technique, and any word problem, doesn't matter how much long it is, how much confusing it is, if you just follow this one technique, you will be able to solve any word problem. What you have to do is you have to translate. You have to translate English to math. This word problem is given in English, right? So you have to convert this word problem from English to math. And math is also just a language. It's just a language of numbers. Okay, so wherever you see numbers, you have to convert that sentence from English to math. So it says he earns $8 per hour for the first 10 hours. So $8 per hour, and for 10 hours, that means he's earning 8 times $10 for the first 10 hours. Okay, then his salary is increased to $10 per hour for the rest of the week. Now, we don't know that for how many hours he worked for the rest of the week. That's exactly what we have to find out. Okay, so let's assume that he worked for X number of hours for the rest of the week to save $270. Okay, so for X number of hours, his total salary will be 10 times X, because now he's getting $10 per hour. So $10, and number of hours is X. Okay, so for this week, his total earnings will be, add these two values, this value plus this value. Okay, so this is 80, this is 10X. So for the entire week, his total salary is 80 plus 10X. And now it says can save 90% of his earnings. So how will you convert this? How will you translate this? 90%. So that means 90% of this. This is his earnings, right? This is his earnings, and of his earnings, he is saving 90%. So 90%. Okay, so that is 0.9. So that means he is saving 0.9 of this earnings. Okay, now this total is now the savings. This complete thing is the savings. So we have to find out that what is the least number of hours he must work the rest of the week to save at least $270 for the week. So the savings should be at least $270. At least means minimum it should be $270. So at least means that this thing should be greater than or equal to 270. And that's it. That's your inequality. You just have to solve for this inequality. So we can divide both sides by 0.9. So if you divide both sides by 0.9, you get this. Okay, so this is going to be 300. So 80 plus 10x is greater than or equal to 300. So 10x is greater than or equal to 300 minus 80. Subtract 80 from both sides. So 300 minus 80 will give us 220. And if you divide both sides by 10, so we'll get x is greater than or equal to 22. That means he should work for at least 22 hours for the rest of the week in order to save at least $270 for this week.